So they've calculated it out, and they deem it to be a fair and reasonable market price. They're constantly moving and changing those prices. Okay, they're constantly working and adjusting them, and that's going to take time. Again, that's like I said before, it's going to be 5 years or more before we get a really good scheme, and it's going to take time for those prices to even out. But for the person with a disability, you won't notice any difference, because even if they doubled the amount they were paying OTs, it still wouldn't make any difference to you, because it's 5 hours of support, regardless of whether they charge $100 or $200. It's 5 hours. The whole idea of this is to keep it as fair as possible. I think of it like a token-based system. It's a token for that amount of support, and that's what you get, regardless of what's being charged, especially with when you're using the NDIS managed.
So would it be advantageous for them to actually be with the NDIS?
The providers?
Yes.
To register with them?
Yes.
Oh, I think so, yeah. Big business, yeah. It depends how much work you want to do, because they are going to get swamped for work. But yeah, we know a lot of spec Gs and OTs that are keen to register. You will see, the way the market's going to work, currently we see some organisations that have got OTs working within them, but they'll have to separate that out. Okay, so if it's a disability support type organisation, they'll have to clearly state, this is what we do, this is where we stop. But we've partnered with someone like FAERs, who does psychology, and they do speech, and they do OT. So you'd partner with another organisation, okay, and then they would then provide those services, still in-house, so to minimise disruption, but they'd be partnered with them, because it'll all be split. Okay, currently you get block-funded arrangements with a service, and they can be quite creative about how to use that money. So you really don't know where your allocation of funding is being used for, or by who. They use it quite creatively, and that's another thing that concerns me with that principal owner disadvantage, not being made worse off. I know a young man who's actually been getting the support needs of his disability met through his father's aged care support, because they both use the same service. So they're actually, so how do you're not supposed to be doing that. So how do you actually say, well, actually we were doing this, even though we're not supposed to. Technically it's not even legal to be doing that, but there's through creative funding, they're shifting money out of one to the other. Then the dad's happy with that. But, I mean, on paper, he's not getting that support. So we have to be really careful with that whole principal owner disadvantage, how you go about sort of mapping out what your supports you're getting. Also say keep all your receipts, just while I'm on that. Any receipts that you've had for therapy, supports, treatments, whatever it is, keep them all. Even all your equipment, keep everything. Just so you can show to the plans when you go and see them, you can show that history, especially if it shows a time frame. Mental illness, for example, being episodic, MS also can be up and down. They keep that record of contact over a long period of time. It shows that permanent disability, and it shows the variability of that disability. It gives them an idea of how to plan for the future.
What's if you're on a package and I've got it on the computer, for instance, like, that's the locks. Is that suffice, or do you need an actual receipt?
No, you can take anything really. You get a screenshot. If you're going through, say you had a child with an altered gait and they wear out 10 pairs of shoes, take a pair of shoes and leave it. Show them the shoes. Show if you've got receipts, or you can show a bank statement of how many shoes you've bought in the last 12 months, and it's 20, and most kids go through 5. Well, you've got records to ask them and say, well, look, this is costing us way more. What are you going to do about it? So
they're the sort of things that you can even think about.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Replace things and buy things all the time.
Yeah. And everyone's got so used to doing all these things that they probably will forget to ask. And that's one of the biggest problems. Everyone needs to think really carefully about what it is you're doing. What are you doing to get around the barriers that you face? What have you had to do? What does it cost you? Okay, and that's what you've got to sort of think about that, especially things like seamless entries into house, so you can get in and out, when you've got lips in the ground, so a seamless threshold. All those sorts of things, modifications to the home, what you've done in the past, what you need to continue to have being done. I mean, we get silly, just ridiculous situations happening at the moment where someone in a wheelchair will come home and there'll be a support worker waiting for them to open the door for them because they won't pay to modify the door. I mean, door handles, actually you'll know, a contemporary door handle is a nightmare for someone in a chair. So why not? Why would you not put a keyless entry, so remote activator and a seamless threshold, so that they can get into their own home? And often this is happening with rentals because they won't give them the money because it's not their home.
And that's the thing to overlook, because you just take it for granted, you just do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's probably one of the biggest risks is changing people's thinking, which is why we're talking to you today. It's changing your thinking to go, okay, what is it that's costing me money, additional money that everybody else they don't have to pay for? What is it that's different? So think about everyday ordinary Australians and what they pay for. Say, we get this example a lot with mums with ASD, mums with kids with ASD. They go, well, we can't do swimming lessons because in a group, anxiety is just too much. They can't handle it. They need one-to-one. Go, well, okay, how much does the swimming lessons cost? And they go, well, X amount of money. Well, how much more does it cost for the one-to-one? That's what they pay for. Okay, that's what you're going to ask the NDIS to pay for. You say, well, this is what a group swimming lesson costs. We can't do that. Because of his disability, we need to do one-to-one. It costs us X amount more. We want you to pay that.